to we intend to have these open to anybody. You don't need to be a league member. So I'm really glad to hear that some of you have joined and are interested in education and have joined this meeting because of that. All right, and you can see the link for the agenda. We'll get that up. So I've added several resources on here. One is the State Board of Education link, shows that their upcoming meeting will be December 14th. As then they begin at 9 o'clock, they tend to go most of the day. If you haven't ever tuned in to one of the state board meetings. And Beth, I tried to shrink this calendar, but it wouldn't shrink for me. So it's nice and big so everybody can see it. So here are the meetings for the coming year. So you're aware of when those meetings will be. I have put a link here for the agendas. Unless they changed it today, the agenda for the December meeting was not up yesterday when I put this here. And then it was a really interesting meeting for November because that's when they were debating the social studies standards. And you can see the meeting notes from that meeting as well as the testimony and vote. Very interesting. I also have the link to the State Board of Education, which might be coming in handy for any of you as you're searching information. And then this next set of links is for the Colorado General Assembly. I have the House Education Committee link, the Senate, the California Youth Advisory Committee is an interim committee that meets in the summer and early fall and proposes legislation. We have the brand new Colorado Early Childhood and School Readiness Commission, and that's a department as well, and the State Board of Education. We have some of you mentioned school finance. Here's the link to the interim committee on school finance, so you can see what they were up to this summer. And the legislative council, they review all of the legislation that's proposed during the interim committee. I also I will start putting up, and you can as well, or send it to me, articles that are pertinent. This was an article about the state standards that was on Chalkbeat, which is an excellent resource. And then this next one was an article from the Brookings Institute about educating our children so that they can support democracy as we go on. Finally, the last one I put up was the most recent update that I got from the National Education Policy Center, which is a research center at Colorado Boulder. And they have a series of fairly short articles, but they review education research in a really understandable way. And so you might want to click on their newsletter or sign up for it and just peruse the different topics that they go over. So I wanted to make sure that you all knew about what was on this on our website so far. And again, please feel free to send information that you think should also go on that would have, a statewide interest, because this is a statewide task force. All right, Beth, I think that's all I want to do on that one. Any questions about our website, our webpage?
Shelley.
Yes, I did. And you were asking what might be helpful. I know as we were trying to, and this ties in with your other role with legislation, but as we're trying to look up some things, different legislative bills that come through impacting education, is there a way to have maybe the education, I know some of them overlap because it might be a different bill, but it has a little bit of education in it. But the main education bills from each of the different years, and just list them, like 2019, here's the main education bills that passed. 2020, here are some main education bills, because I know when you go onto the Colorado General Assembly page, sometimes you're searching forever and you're not ever finding exactly what you're looking for.
Mhm.
Would that be possible, or is that just a huge task?
I think one of the things that we can do is you can go to our Colorado League's position book. And Beth, I think you have that keyed up.
Mhm.
Why don't you pull that up? Because for each year, every year, education has a lot of bills. Okay. And I want to underline a lot of bills in all areas. But the bills that we have focused on are highlighted in our position book, which is the Program for Study and Action. And if you keep going down to social policy.
Sorry, I'm trying not to give
No.
everybody
Yeah, that's okay.
vertigo.
Yeah, you're doing it slower than I would. I'm such a habit of getting in there.
Okay.
You should be able to click on that. Yes. Okay, so it gives the league positions to begin with, and then it follows. You can see the different years that we have listed. Wait, let's keep going down. Yeah.
So that's our position,
Okay.
and then here, league actions.
And
Is
yeah.
But this is only what the league has done as opposed to what has passed in general.
I think the most important thing to remember, if you scroll up just a little bit, scroll back up, Beth.
Up.
You want to go, we don't cover everything. We cover what is important and related to the league's position, whether it's from this book about Colorado or if it's from the US book. Those are the ways that we decide what is important to the league. And those are the bills going through that we try to concentrate on the most. So we think about these positions and what's important. So I recommend, and you can get on, you can see that book of positions in the US book. It's all online. You can access it this way and look at what's in there for education and for higher education, because the higher ed legislation is in the next section down from where the pre-K through 12th grade is.
Thank
Beth,
you. That's a good resource.
But it's an interesting idea, Shelley. We'll look into that and see if we can't, at least get some highlights onto each task force webpage.
And one of the things that we do as well on the Legislative Action Committee webpage, when the General Assembly is in session, is we list the bills that we're following. And you'll be able to see on this one, the bill tracker is a good one to look at, because you can open it. You can open to the actual bill itself and detailed information by clicking on the bill number. You can see the title, which usually points you in the right direction, but not always. You can look at the positions and look at the status of where it is during the session. So you know what committees or where it is at that point. But this is a really good source.
And this is just the legislation that the league followed from the last legislative session, obviously, not prior.
Right.
Kelly?
I have two questions. So that's Bill Tracker, and I use Bill Track 50. Is that similar to your Bill Tracker, or have you created your own database
No.
bill? Okay,
This is from
Um,
Capital Watch, which is
Capital
that's the bill tracker that we use for the Legislative Action Committee.
and then I had another question. Do you have a, like a scoring methodology in which you then rate your bills, like for how what positions you're gonna take? Did you show that earlier and maybe I missed it?
No, yeah, you didn't miss anything. In the Legislative Action Committee, what we do when we meet as a whole is each of us in our areas of expertise and interest present the bills that we're tracking and for each meeting. Some of us don't have changes, but the ones that do, or the ones that are ready to ask, we go through a really rigorous conversation with the rest of the people on the Legislative Action Committee with questions. And then once that conversation is done, we vote as a group on whether we will support or whether we will oppose, amend, follow, all of those positions. And again, it always has to be brought back and grounded in the positions for the state league. So our stances have to be grounded in the positions for the state or the US league positions. So it's a really good way that helps us think through what the league should be doing. But we don't ever do this on our own. We do this with committee, always. And
consensus,
yes,
committee consensus,
exactly.
grassroots.
And the task forces contribute to the knowledge that goes on in that conversation.
And so the position statement is something that kind of, it transpires over all that discussion, or it's
Yes.
already set? Oh, okay. All right.
Yep, it's through the discussion and the study that we do in it. And they're
But
really
positions are set and they can't be amended
right.
without a vote of the entire membership.
Okay.
Right. And so we have in the Legislative Action Committee we're registered grassroots lobbyists with the General Assembly, and we do impact what happens with legislation. And so that we bring the power that the league wields to the work that we do.
And a lot of that power is the network,
Yes.
which is where you all come in.
Yeah.
We hope that task forces will, be a conglomeration of members and non-members from around the state who are both interested and possibly concerned about what's going on, telling us, feeding the task force information about what's happening in your particular area, so that we can feed that information to the Legislative Action Committee. So, and then the Legislative Action Committee can come back and say, wow, we've got this education topic and we need somebody from Southwestern Colorado to testify on it. Well, heck, we happen to have quite a few members from La Plata on the Education Committee. Or the task force. If you need somebody from Cortez, we can find somebody. So it's the geographical and experience diversity that this group we hope will hold. And it's working so far.
Yep.
I mean,
Peggy Abrams you have your hand up. Oh, you need to unmute.
Could you just tell us those dates again for the state board meetings for December and January?
The December one is on the 14th.
Okay.
That one I know by heart, but I would have to go back and look at what I put up on the page for
Okay.
January.
All right. All right. Thank you.
But that'll be a resource for you that will always be there.
That's on the website, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
if you go to
Mhm.
the State League website and then go to advocacy and go
Okay.
to the drop-down menu, and that's where all the task forces are listed.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay.
And we are interested in the idea of an observer corps
Yes.
for the Colorado Board of Education. Meaning, league observers attend these meetings and report back and say things along the lines of, wow, what a great group, or no, they want the American birthright curriculum, and allow the league as a whole to take action.
Doing the mute button.
You'll
I can't.
There we go. I just muted you, Peggy. But the last meeting of this group resulted in an action alert that caused the State Board of Education to get 150 emails
Yes.
saying, do not change the curriculum.
Yeah.
Or use this set of curriculum as opposed to this set. So and it worked.
Yeah.
It passed. So anyway, back to Kathy.
All right. So your question about who is this? Is it Peggy Graham? I'm trying to see who PG is.
Oh,
here.
Phyllis.
Phyllis. It's Phyllis Graham. Your question about would it make sense to each take an hour and a half of listening and note taking for the State Board of Education online meetings, since you said it lasts all day. That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful if we could set up a schedule of people who are willing and able to take blocks of time with the State Board of Education and take notes and really listen to what they're saying, because you will find it's very diverse in their opinions about what directions they want the education to go within the state. So Shelley, I see your hand up.
Mine's just a fast question. I see that we are all female on here. Are men able to join in? Like if a single dad, it has a huge interest, can he join the task force as well?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Please,
Yes.
please. That would be wonderful. My husband is a member, okay, of the league. So we up here we say, and it's probably everywhere, but the League of Women Voters of Larimer County, not for women only. So we do definitely want men to be part of the conversation that we have.
Okay, thank you. I'm
Yes.
that new.
Okay. Well, it's kind of funny, Shelley, because for the League of Women Voters is 102 years old, and for the first 50 years of its existence, we did actively discriminate against men, which I find to be really ironic. But since I believe it was either 1970 or 1972, we allowed men in with full voting privileges. And our Chaffee County League here in Colorado is about 50% men. So anyone is welcome here at any time.
Phyllis, I see your hand up.
Wouldn't my phone ring at that very moment? I'm wondering if we couldn't put somewhere where it would be seen for all of us, a sign-up sheet for those different hours of the upcoming State Board of Education online meetings.
That would be
absolutely
great. Can
we
you
will
do a Google Doc or something?
We can. Club Express has a volunteering module that
I've never used that. Okay,
that we can use, and we're working on that for various observer corps. Is 2-hour increments okay with everybody? I'm not sure we have the ability to do 1.5-hour increments.
2 hours
Right.
sounds fine.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay,
Excellent.
great.
Excellent. Thank you.
How
so
does it
much.
work,
Okay.
Beth?
We will, it acts as an online sign-up sheet and gives automated reminders. So we hope it will work well. If we find it doesn't, we will move to another system. But I have I believe it will work well. So we will get that set up in the morning, and we will post a link on the Education Task Force site, as well as emailing it out to all of y'all.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
if we are 2-hour increments, and let's say it lasts for 10 hours, we'd have 5 people. So I think one of those people, one of those persons should be the gatherer of all information. So it's all contained in one document.
Everyone is always welcome to
Uh-huh.
use the LWVCO office as the clearinghouse.
Yeah.
So if you have a question and you don't know who should answer it, send it to info@lwvcolorado.org. If you have a document that you know is important, but you just don't know what to do with it, send it to info@lwvcolorado.org, and we will figure it out or get it to the right people, or combine 5 documents into one and get it posted on the website, or whatever. Staff is here to take away those headaches.
One thing that I would like to say, though, is if more than 1 or 2 people want to tune in, please do. All right? Because you're all coming in with different background knowledge and experience. And so you will pick up on certain things that maybe everybody else will not. And so that combined knowledge is also very useful. I'll also just warn you that in November, the first hour or so of it's about more than an hour and a half, they were having transmission problems from there. And so just know that we're all working on something similar to Zoom. And hopefully we won't run into those problems, but you can get also and look at the agenda, click on the agenda, and you'll see exactly what they're going to be talking about, approximately when, and that can be very helpful too for it. And they do take a lunch break. Know that they do take a lunch break. Not always when
So whoever gets assigned to the lunch break time, score. Yeah.
All right. Oh, I'm very excited that we're getting this started. I think it's going to be a really important activity for this task force.
And we'll also share just some very brief guidelines for observers. So you don't feel like, you feel like you have a sense of what you're doing and what the point of the Observer Corps is. But really it's just to observe and to report back, so that if there's something concerning or laudable, we elevate that. And elevate might be anything from sending an email to organizing a mass protest.
Donna asked about where she could find the names of the people who are on the state board. That there is the link on the League of Women Voters of Colorado on our task force for the State Board of Education that you can go to, click on that, and it's pretty apparent on their website where the link is for the name of people who are on it. And I think it will be in January that they switch over to the people who were elected this time around. So they'll be sworn in at that point.
And there'll be 2 more board members. It's going from a 7-member board to a 9-member board.
Right.
Due to our new 8th district.
I'm
I just put a link in the chat box.
I was gonna say, if you could add the link, because I'm trying to follow on the site page. Is it under the Colorado General Assembly Education Committees, or is it?
No, it's under the board. It's higher up on the page, on the resources page. And it's it says Colorado State Board of Education.
Oh, there we go. Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'm also going to put my email in here, and feel free to contact me anytime you would like. Can I type? Typing was never one of my great skills. Okay, so there you have my email address, and feel free to use it. All right. Beth, can you think
And
of more? Is Andrea on here yet? No.
Andrea is on here. Phyllis has had her hand up for a little while as well.
Yes. Go for it.
Yes, I'd like to say that it's also important to be monitoring your own county boards of education. And to the extent that that fits in here, I'm not sure. But as for listening to the State Board of Education, I really can't see myself paying close attention for longer and putting my whole life aside for more than 2 hours on one of these calls. And I'm sure
Understand.
other people are pretty much in the same ballpark.
Oh, that's,
Yep.
I think that's fine. I think that's
Yeah.
wonderful that you're willing to give us the 2 hours to do that as well. So, excellent.
And
Any other-
I have a team of 3 that are monitoring the Douglas County Board of Education, because each of us couldn't be to every single meeting. So we're sharing notes about that. And if you're familiar with the Douglas County Board of Education, it's
It's a happening place.
weird.
Yeah, we've been encouraging leagues around the state to reinvigorate their own local observer corps if they are becoming concerned about their school board or their election board, or any place you may have seen an increase in anti-democratic ideals taking hold. Kelly?
I was just going to ask, when you find an actionable item and you create, like you had mentioned, a call to action, how effective do you feel like you've been, or do you find that you're very effective in like swaying legislation, or, because you hate to sit in a 2-hour meeting and nothing comes of it, right? No matter how much you talk or pledge or, whatever. How effective has it been? And then is your effort mostly, if you have a call to action, is it just amongst the league members, say, hey, just like get out the vote, tell your people, write to their so-and-so and that type of thing?
I can tell you 2 things about that. We have had either legislators contacting us, or as we're contacting them for the positions that the league would take on upcoming bills. So they know the power of the league. Think of how many people we have who are voters. We're voters. We're active, in that. And so they do respond to that. And I can also tell you on a personal basis, in one of the pieces of legislation last year that I gave testimony on, oral testimony that time, it was asking for the legislator who was a sponsor of the bill to amend the bill in a certain way, and they did. Okay, they listened and they did. I don't know, Andrea, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, love to. The thing that comes to mind for me is I fully agree with the points that Kathy brought up. We've had several occasions in the past where we've contacted specifically for our input or information on, why we've taken the position that we have on a certain bill. Know that, from that direct communication, our opinion carries weight. In the alternative, in instances where on something, there was a couple of years ago where it was really relevant to our positions. We didn't think we had anything that strongly covered it, so we didn't take a position. It happened to be a ballot issue, but the Speaker of the House had actually told me to see if we were planning to take a position on it, because they really list us as a supporter. And I explained that our positions didn't align enough, that we weren't going to do that, but we appreciated the outreach. So, all of that I think are strong signs that the league opinion is value. But the additional point I want to make is that our participation in both from an observer standpoint, but whether it's observing or providing testimony or acting in coalition, the more we do these, it has a snowballing effect. The higher we raise our profile, the more we're known for being in these circles, the more people are going to come to us for specific input and to get our opinion and to seek our sign off endorsement on a particular piece of legislation or action that is under consideration. So your participation is really important, because I think the more we raise our profile, the more we'll see our influence grow, and that's a great thing.
We also act in coalition with partners that we have similar goals of, to achieve. And so that conglomeration of all of these voices together that are coming from different angles. So we have one perspective, this group might have another perspective, but that heightens our power and our impact as well. So, it's really exciting work.
Absolutely. And yeah, legislators tend to do a happy dance when we support a bill that they've sponsored, because it is seen as a seal of approval. When Governor Polis was going to veto a bill during the 2021 session, and he knew that the league had supported it, he called us to say, why are you supporting this? Because I'm about to veto it. And we told him, and he didn't veto it. So the league, we're 102 years old, but our influence is still building. It's pretty crazy. But as new legislators come in and realize our network and our depth and breadth, it's they never fail to be impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Betty,
yeah.
Because there are so many new people here, I'd like to say that as observers, you do not speak at these meetings. As league, you are there to observe and report back to either this task force or Kathy, the LAC, and that's where the action is decided upon, and who should speak for the league at that point is determined.
Yes, that is correct. The LAC has the authority to speak for the league. Everybody else is speaking as an individual citizen, an individual constituent. And Betty, you're exactly right with that.
But think of that as a kind of a safety clause.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in a meeting that gets contentious or something, there is no need for you to put yourself out on a limb. That isn't what observers do. It's about reporting back to the group and then collective action.
Yes, indeed. I want to we only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to do this really fast. I encourage you to look at the agenda. But when I was talking about coalitions and partnerships, I'm going to touch on this briefly. We were invited to a meeting, and it was an informational meeting last Friday about the possibility of getting involved with a coalition to support age-appropriate design code for digital sources that children, children up to the age of 18 would access. They have a law in California that has been passed now on this, and they were asking if we would join this coalition. You can see
the California bill is in the chat.
Right.
The link. Sorry, Kathy.
It's also on your agenda, which is posted on our Ed Task Force website. But you'll see that text to the bill. You'll also see the coalition site that has a lot of interesting and good information about it too. So that's one of the things that we are considering. And again, this is brand new. It is very brand new. And so Linda, I was thinking about news access and literacy and possibly doing this, as a joint kind of effort. So take a look at that. Linda is the head of the News Access and Literacy Task Force for the state. And so that's why we are considering that. I don't know, Beth and Andrea, Andrea, you might want to turn off your video because you were a little spotty coming through. But I don't know if either of you want to say any more about this age appropriate design code issue.
It's exciting. I don't know much about coding, but I know that what it would do would mandate the highest privacy settings for children as they sign up for websites automatically, as opposed to having parents have to opt in to up the privacy controls.
Plus, this started in England, in the UK first, and they have a really good set of guidelines and laws that are protecting the children there. So this then went to California, and now they're asking us. Andrea, did you have anything to add?
I would just kind of echo that I found it to be a really exciting conversation. I think it's a great opportunity. And, this is another example where, the league name, really carries some weight. So it's fantastic that, we've been contacted on the front end to, be part of the coalition and be in these conversations from the start, because that's where we can really have the most influence is we're talking through the idea, thinking through what legislation could look like, reaching out to possible sponsors, to be on the front end of those conversations is the thing that really gives us the most opportunity to have big influence and to ensure that the legislation that may ultimately be developed is really further league positions and league priorities. So that's a great position to be in. But I think this is just a really useful thing. There's obviously a lot of concern about online safety and, kids' use of technology, given the fact that we're in a really quickly evolving world with all of that. So I think there's a great opportunity here. And to Kathy's point about this being, an area of nice crossover between education and the News Access and Literacy Task Force, I think that's one of the things for me that's most exciting about public policy is the cross-jurisdictional nature of it. And, when policy deals with a variety of topics and allows us to really pull in a wide swath of our members to kind of bring in that diversity of knowledge and diversity of perspectives. That's a really exciting thing. So I think there could be a great opportunity here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, I had my hand up for a while. I'm just going to ask a question now, I guess.
Go for it.
So in this particular legislation, what I failed to do is my career was running large international software delivery organizations, right? So that's what I did. So I did a quick scan of that just from the agenda tonight, and I'll certainly do a deep dive, but I'm assuming this is some of the industry push or some of the push that's been out there for a while to start to put a lot more constraints and controls around content for children, web applications, all those kinds of things. So my question, I guess, for this group is we're kind of talking, maybe because some of us are new. So we're being asked to do something. I'm an action-based person, so I'm on this call. What exactly am I supposed to do? So is it read it? Is it come back to the next meeting and talk about it? What is it exactly?
Yes. Read it,
Okay.
please, and come and talk to me about it if you'd like, or we could share ideas, in between times too.
They want us to collaborate with them in which way is it to get legislation in Colorado that's similar?
Yes,
or
that
to
would be,
a
yeah, that would be
national?
the ultimate. That would be
Okay.
the ultimate.
All right,
And I
that
know,
helps.
I know Sandy had a question too, and we're,
Thank you.
because we're just about out of time. So Sandy.
Okay, it's a quick question. I just wondered if it puts restraints on, excuse me, I got a cold. If it puts restraints on the, when the app is opened, that you can't get into the content unless you ask for it. Is that the idea?
I would suggest, okay, reading the California Act.
Oh, well, you
Take
don't
a
know.
little
Okay.
time with that, because, you know, they definitely looked at a lot of different aspects that they put into that bill, and the bill has passed. Okay, so that is an active bill in Colorado.
I think it makes in California.
I mean, California, that's what I meant to
Yeah.
say. I'm sorry. That, you know, my C word retrieval just went the pot. So I don't know if anybody wants any, I do actually. I want to invite you before I forget, we are having an action and advocacy training number 2. It is different than training number 1. This Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. You are all definitely invited to it. You will see a link to sign up so you can get the Zoom access for it on our calendar, on the state calendar. So I invite you to join that. It's the second of 3 of a 3-part training that we're doing. You can view part 1 on the State League YouTube channel. So come for part 2. And in January, we'll have part 3 on the 1st of, or not the 1st, on the 6th of January, right before the legislative session starts. Anybody else want to say anything?
If this group, yes, they will be recorded, Shelley. If this group would like, we can, at the next meeting, and we're going to be talking about when the next meeting is. This group has opted for the first Monday. The first Monday of January is January 2nd. Therefore, I would like to bump it back a week to the 9th, if that's all right. I'm seeing thumbs up and nods, generally speaking. Great. We will get that posted on the website. Would this group like to hear? We can ask this the code design, age appropriate code design people to come speak for 15-20 minutes if that's something you all would like more information on.
Yeah, I think they would be really willing to do that and excited to do that.
Great. Okay, we will work on that. What else would you all like this group to focus on? Right on, Shelley.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I was trying to raise my hand, but was somebody speaking? I just had a couple things. Guys collected it from our Jefferson County one, but I'm assuming that some of this stuff is important still to the larger audience, and one of them is the whole concept around attracting and retaining the top talent within our schools, right? And that's teachers and the supporting staff, pay, benefits, those kinds of things. So is there something already on the agenda around that, or position we're trying to take, or is that more of a local like a Jefferson County kind of item, for example?
Well, I think that would be covered under some of the legislation that the state would be coming up with in finance.
Okay, yeah, because certainly it's beyond teachers and print, you know, in the 4
Yeah.
walls of the school, the teachers are being asked to do way more than teach these days, right? So there's
Yes.
a whole thing around just attracting and retaining. And then I already have something around protecting, you know, fair and balanced curriculums. I know that call to action we just had. Sorry, my printer is going off now because I was trying to print that other sheet. But anyway, something around that, just making sure we still have our finger on the pulse of that, since that's a very popular thing to disrupt in certain areas of the country. So I suspect that'll be an ongoing pressure point here.
Yeah.
And then I guess the safety component, both physical and virtual, and that's where this item that we just discussed around the web, virtual safety.
Mhm.
But those are the three big that I had on my mind.
Terrific. Well, that's right in line to the type of things that we're planning with this. So excellent. Anybody else?
And of course, this is an ongoing question.
Phyllis?
Doesn't
thought
need to
for
be
a long-
answered.
I thought for a long time that we're missing the boat in terms of getting out and talking to people about why they should vote yes on education bills,
Yes.
especially amongst older folks
Mhm.
and people in business and young folks who aren't in school anymore, because it affects the quality of their business every single day.
Yep.
And if they're complaining about workers and they're complaining about online service or whatever, good education is going to make all of that much better.
You're right on.
And every day you hear somebody complaining about somebody who can't make change.
So who was it that was math here?
Yeah.
All right, Hope, yes. Oh,
Oh, no, I
Um,
was just agreeing that
Yes.
was spot on. Yep.
yes,
Okay.
yes. All right. Well, I think we have a good start to all sorts of interesting work that this task force can take part in. And thank you. I appreciate you coming, and I appreciate you being interested in every one of these items. All right. So
Okay.
the 9th.
Yep. So hope to see you all on January 9th at 5:30, same bat time, same bat channel.
Mhm.
We will get a follow-up email out to you tomorrow with links to sign up for the Observer Corps for the December Board of Education meeting and Board of Education meetings going forward.
And the advocacy action and advocacy training, please.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great.
All right. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy
Thank you.
holidays.
Thanks so much.
Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
evening.
Thanks.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.